was a Mayday. It had burned so much that most of the first floor had burned away. So we put the fire out, and it was pretty much no problem, and went inside to relieve a crew that was up on the second floor putting out some hot spots, some small areas of fire. And we had our tanks on and everything, and we had used the hose line that the other crew had up there. Myself and another crew member just went up the stairs, and I left my firefighter at the bottom of the stairs just to make sure, because we don't normally ever split up, but we were like literally feet away from each other. And all of a sudden, my firefighter starts yelling at us, there's fire. And we were like, what? There's no fire present. And we were at the top of the stairs. It was completely clear in the attic. So we start coming down, and as we start coming down, the heat is unbearable. And I've been in, like I said, thousands of fires, and I never felt impending doom until that fire. So we're coming down the stairs, and you could just see the fire just all around us. And my firefighter is hitting it with the nozzle, and it's not even making a difference. It's like a garden hose. So I made the decision as an officer, and that's hard to do. You're not supposed to ever separate from your hose line, but I know we didn't have enough hose to put it out. So I said, drop the hose line, shut the door. Luckily, there was a door at the base of the attic stairs. And I said, we're going up without a hose line. And this fire is rolling all around us. And I know we are limited in people outside. People might not be, they're changing their air tanks too, thinking it's no big deal that we're just an overhaul. And I called a Mayday. And my firefighter was screaming at me, call a Mayday, and I was like already on it. And I said, Mayday, 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 engine 4 is trapped on the third floor. We do not have a hose line. We're going to look for a window. When we had first done a quick scan of the attic, we did not see any windows, and it was a hoarder house. So there was furniture and debris everywhere. My engineer that had been at the top of the stairs, he was shocked. He's like, what do you mean we're going up? We can't go up. We don't have a hose line. I said, he didn't see how bad the fire was at the base of the stairs, and we could feel the heat. It was becoming unbearable. In the meantime, I'm climbing over to him, and there's a floor, it's an older house, a floor vent, probably the size of this chair that I'm sitting on, and I fell into it, and the fire came up through the vent, and then when I had fallen into it, my coat had ridden up, so I'm getting burned on my back, and I'm screaming, okay, I'm on fire, and I'm like, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. I did another Mayday because we were trapped. I was trapped in that hole. I was stuck. It was probably knee deep, but I was stuck in my armpits. So I was like all stuck in there in this little hole, and I was getting frustrated. So by that time, my firefighter had caught up to me, and he's like, I'm not going to leave you. I'm like, we need to find that window. But by then, other crews had come inside and started hitting the fire underneath us, and they got up to us because we got all disoriented, and we finally got out. I could definitely feel like my heart rate increasing, and started thinking about my kids really quick, and it was very, I guess I was surprised because I've been to so many fires. I remember being in the back of the ambulance, just talking 100 miles a minute, and wanting to make sure my crew was okay, and I was in shock. I know I was in shock, and I couldn't stop shaking, and I remember sweating and not wanting to sit still. They had to sit me down, and I was like, I don't need to go to the hospital. They're like, I didn't even realize I'd been burned on my back. I remembered when I was in the fire that my coat had lifted up and I could feel it, but I didn't even remember it. And they actually didn't realize until we were almost to the hospital. They're doing a check of me, and they're like, you've got burns on your back. You're going into the hospital. So I remember just shaking a lot and talking a mile a minute, and being very cognizant of I didn't want people to think that I couldn't do my job. And then I remember going back to the station, and some people kind of treating us different, almost like our crew, hands off, they didn't, I don't know, we were kind of I felt like we were ostracized a little bit. When I went to this conference, they actually talked about fireground survival, and they showed a bunch of fire scenes. and my heart just started racing. It was literally like 2 days after we'd just been through our Mayday, and I started sweating and my heart just started pounding, and I had to get up and leave for a minute because it kind of hit me that we really lucked out, and I didn't. I think I didn't realize like how lucky we were until, I mean, they knocked the house down, it's gone. And so we just, even driving by the house before they tore it down, my crew and I talked about it, and we actually had a debriefing right after the incident, and everybody talked about it because I think there were some things that happened all the way around that could have all been differently, and I think some people might have been feeling guilt or not understanding what happened, and so it was good for our whole shift to see all the different angles. So I had a range of emotional reactions that week. I think disbelief at first. I think disbelief, and then like a hard time sleeping. I was nervous, and then I think just shock, all of it. It was just, and kind of some frustration on my own part. I started questioning my ability as a firefighter, even though I had at that time been doing it like 22 years. And so, just questioning everything, your ability and your mental stability, I guess. I don't know. It was definitely anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety about going back to work because I was actually going on vacation, like literally the next day after this fire. So I was glad to have a little break. But so anxiety. But it's funny. And then trouble sleeping. I did have a little bit of trouble sleeping and some flashbacks when I saw another fire video. And then it just brought it all back. So then it was like a slideshow because I kept retelling the story. But I think, oddly enough, that helped me heal because I kept talking it out and not bottling everything up inside. And then I was able to talk to a lot of my peers, and replay it. And they were encouraging me because I kept saying, what did I do wrong? And, and they're like, you didn't do anything wrong. You're here. You survived, and you need to tell your story so other people can learn. Don't look at it as all mistakes. Learn from your experience and help others by sharing it. So then a month later, I taught a fireground survival class, and I was able to tell the students in the class about it. And I think, again, just telling people, even though it was a slideshow, replaying it over and over in my mind, I think that really helped me heal and learn from it myself. It really opens your eyes to, like, life is too short. And it really made me appreciate my kids and my family and my friends. And I made sure because that's something I thought of too. And the first Mayday that I had was, I'm not going to be able to say goodbye to my kids. I'm not going to be able to say goodbye to my family and my friends, and so it really made me cognizant. There's times where you fight with your family or your friends, and I don't leave for work anymore with any bad feelings with my family or friends. I don't want to end it because life is too short. You don't know. This could be your last time. Suppose some people after a traumatic event might want to leave it, but for me, I want to keep coming back and try to help other people fix it. Like I wanted to go back and educate, so if someone else has gone through what I went through, I could help them get through it. And so they realize that, a Mayday is a traumatic event, but I survived it mentally as well, and you can too, and I'll help you through it. Let me give you a hand, brother or sister, and lift you up, because it was some pretty dark times for a bit there. I even reached out to our International Firefighters Union to see about a behavioral health group, like a Mayday support group, because I was really in a dark place for a bit, kind of questioning my mortality and what we did wrong. And, and so now I feel like I need to go back to work to help other people get through traumatic events. And we're actually setting up a program in our department and in my district for our union stuff, because we recognize that we've got to help each other out, because this job takes its toll on you physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. And you can heal from that. We just got to help each other.